My brother is disabled and gets more attention, so I bullied him his entire life. Was I wrong to do this? Am I the a-hole?
Does he deserve it?
I know this will get a lot of hate, and yes, I deserve it. I know I'm not looking for any validation or forgiveness. I know I am a piece of human trash. I just need to get this out.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all? I have a brother who is 2 years older than me. He has suffered from a condition since birth that forces him to be in a wheelchair anytime he is out of bed. He cannot use his arms that well either. We used to have a great relationship until I turned 11, and I really started resenting the amount of attention he took from my parents and how much stress he put them under. I had to constantly help him, change him, feed him, and I hated it.
Oh, geez.
There were a few years in his life when he was so mean to my parents, and it really made me resent him more. I realize now that I had no right to judge him, and I will never know how difficult life is for him. I stopped hanging out with him and made more friends at school. I would tell my family all the fun I was having at school during dinner to make him feel bad.
Really?
Man, I started barely talking to him or acknowledging his presence. He would get frustrated to the point of tears to get my attention. It started escalating 2 years ago when I would purposely turn off the Wi-Fi and unplug the TV every time we had to leave the house so my brother could do nothing but sit in his wheelchair.
This is really
Yeah. I would purposely delete his favorite saved shows on the DVR. I would make fun of his speech, push things just out of his reach. I would act disgusted when I had to change or bathe him. It always made him feel bad and he would apologize. I made my own brother apologize for taking a dump. What the F is wrong with me? But my effing saint of a brother never told my parents, and he never let me have it. 3 weeks ago, he was trying to talk to me nonstop, and I was just ignoring him. I got annoyed and wheeled him against his wishes to the backyard and placed him under an umbrella and went back inside. I fell asleep and realized I left him out there for 3 hours.
OP, dude. You're kind of up, dude.
Yeah. When I went back to bring him inside, he was in tears and wouldn't look at me. He was humiliated. I've always felt guilty about how I treated my brother all these years, but my anger towards him overpowered it. But seeing that look on his face affected me in a way that was different from before. I stopped all the bullying after that day. I couldn't look him in the face. I was so ashamed. Last Sunday, my brother told me he was glad I was his brother and friend. I couldn't even respond. I went to my room and cried. I'm effing crying again, typing all of this out. When did I become an evil trash human being? I'm 17 and he's 19 now. I know there's nothing I can do to make up for the past 6 years. My brother will be returning with my mom from a specialist appointment tonight. I'm going to apologize to him and beg him for his forgiveness tonight. I want to start being an effing decent brother to him again. I am a healthy guy with no issues who chose to bully his only brother for something that wasn't his fault. I am so ashamed of myself. There is an update.
Man, I think what's crazy is his brother actually is still loves and calls him a friend.
Yeah, Opie's brother's really got a big heart.
Let's get into this update.
We do have an update. Let's get into it. A lot of people are asking for an update. Here it is. I wrote a long ass apology letter that I wanted to read to my brother. I waited until he got home and got into bed for the night. I knocked on his door and he was so effing excited that it was me. I couldn't even get through the first few words. I started crying and saying I wanted to say I'm really sorry and I just couldn't get through it. I just got into bed with him, laid down next to him. He hugged me really tight and said, I missed you, buddy. I'm getting a little emotional. This is a hard one. I effing lost it. I never cried that bad before. He just hugged me for a long time until I calmed down. We didn't talk much. He started to cry for a bit too. It was the first time in a long time that we just hugged. After about half an hour, I got up, gave him a kiss, and he told me he was so happy. Why didn't I do this earlier? I thought I could try apologizing properly again tomorrow. I left him the note to read anyways. I'm feeling hopeful right now and a lot of pressure in my heart is gone. I swear to God and on my own life, I will never treat my brother so badly again. I've been working part-time for the past year and I was saving up money so my brother and my mom could go on a trip to a place he really wanted to go to. But I think that I will take my brother myself instead when I turn 18. I also realized that I need to have a relationship with my brother where I'm not just taking care of him. It needs to be more like a brother relationship, like going out for movies and stuff like that. It's going to take some time for me to fix the mess I created though. I'm just lucky that my brother is amazing.
Wow.
I've received a lot of messages. I appreciate everyone for their input and I did read them all even if I didn't reply. Thanks everyone.
Wow.
Woo, man.
I mean, OP turned it around.
OP did turn it around. His brother is a saint. I think they are getting off on a better foot, mending the relationship. And biggest and most importantly, I think the brother is receiving and feeling the love.
Well, OP, I think you are turning away from your Polish ways.
That's right.
But let's get into this next story.
Let's do it.
My sister has cancer, and I couldn't care less because I think she deserves it, and I told her so. Am I the asshole? Me, 27 male, and my sister, Ava, 31, have never gotten along for a number of reasons. One, I was adopted at age 8, and she still only addressed our parents as her parents, and she calls me a family friend, not her brother, when introducing me to people.
A family friend?
2, I was overweight for most of my childhood, and she used to bully me over it a lot. 3, I have a stereotypical girl name. I was named after my birth mom. For the sake of the post, think Kelly or Anna, something boring and basic, but unmistakably girly, and she continues to this day to bully me over it. 4, she outed me as gay to our entire high school in the school paper.
Oh, in the
5,
school paper?
She says I ruined her life because I encouraged her parents to foster our other 2 siblings. And 6, she once locked me out of the house for 3 days while my parents were out of town. I was 13 and had to stay at a neighbor's house because she wouldn't open the door, even when my parents called and told her to.
All right, this chick ain't looking so great.
There are many more examples of her being awful, but these are the ones that came to mind first. Last week, Ava called me, my siblings, and my parents and asked us to come over for lunch. Me and my siblings had to stop and pick up food on the way over to her house. She won't cook for us, only for her parents. So we drove together. If anyone deserves cancer, it's this person.
Oh, Jesus.
When we got there, our parents were already there in the kitchen crying. I asked what happened, and Ava told us she had cancer and she wanted our support. But she won't cook for you? I said, I'm sorry about that, because I really didn't know what else to say. Ava and my parents got upset, and we all basically got into a screaming match. I told her that she shouldn't be surprised that karma finally found her. Ava asked what I meant, and I told her bad things happen to bad people. She started sobbing, and I walked right out the front door. My parents have been calling me to say that I was an asshole, and my siblings are mad that I drove away without them, but they agree that Ava is awful. I'm starting to feel kind of bad because I know how horrible cancer is, and I know no one deserves to go through that. So, am I the asshole?
Yikes.
John, slam dunk it in. What do you think?
I know you don't like her. I know that she's mistreated you your whole life. That is not what you say to someone when they get diagnosed with cancer. Like, it's just...
Say it at their gravestone.
Say it at the gravestone.
I don't know, but what do you think? Is OP the a-hole? Put your answers in the comments below, but let's get into this next one.
More sadness, maybe? We're about to see. My demonic sister is sick, and my parents want me to donate my bones and organs for her transplant. I refused. Am I the a-hole? This story actually comes from our subreddit r/OKOP show. We are going to be reading a lot more stories actually submitted from fans. Big shout out to Diligent Minimum 8397 for submitting this one. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
To keep it simple, I have never had the best relationship with my older sister. She was downright demonic and cruel when we were kids, and being our parents' golden child just made things worse for me. Whenever she needed help with something, it became a priority over anything. For example, she would learn competitive dancing, and I would be forced to learn male roles to help her. Had a science experiment for school, I would be the lab rat for it no matter what it was.
What? How effective is cyanide on the human body?
Let's find out. If she did something cruel, either our parents would not believe me, or I was too scared of her to say anything. If you want a story, I can post. Yes, please.
Yeah, actually, please submit it to r/OKOP show.
And this pretty much was the norm for my life, including her making my friends her friends and then have them never talk to me again. Fast forward, we're now in our mid-20s, and our mother calls me very worried. She tells me that my sister tested positive for a rare genetic disease, and she's in the ICU, and that I should be tested. Of course, I was like, yes, of course. I want to make sure I don't have this. But she didn't respond to that and just said that I should come back home and get the tests done. Something didn't sit right, and I asked what she wanted tested. She wanted me to be tested to make sure I was a perfect match for organ, blood, and bone marrow transplants for my sister.
Bro, they're taking everything from this man.
I was shocked and horrified that instead of worrying both of her children don't have this, I was just convenient for this. I told her, no, I wouldn't do that. This turned into several weeks of fighting, guilt tripping, and threats. After a point, both call and flat out say, are you really just gonna let your sister die when you can save her? I was silent for a moment, and then I replied, I'm not spare parts for your child. I am tired of always being used for her all my life and have her treat me like shit. My answer is no.
Oh.
laying it down. Well, she only needed a bone marrow transplant or donation, but was able to recover after intense treatment. But her attitude towards me changed. I just assumed it was because she almost died. Nope. Our parents lied and told her that I was going to drop everything and come to do whatever it took to help her. So this mixed in with close friends reminding her that she was a terrible sibling to me was a wake-up call. Now my parents expect me to keep the secret till everyone is dead to keep my sister happy, because it would really betray her feelings if she knew the truth. It's been a few years and she's back to being her rotten self, and when she starts up, I just remember this lie and see it as a red button just wanting to be pushed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, it's like even after the sister thinks OP has done all that stuff for her, she still is an asshole only a few years later. Near death won't stop an asshole from being an asshole. What boils your blood? Put your answers in the comments below. My dad is trying to steal my $50,000 inheritance and give it to my stepsister. I refuse to pay for her college. Am I the asshole?
You can't have the 50K, but I will give you something else.
A sexual favor.
Stepsis.
Okay, so this is kind of awkward to be typing, but here it goes. I, 17 female, have a college fund started by my grandparents, maternal and paternal, with some of the money coming from my parents. The fund was originally for me and my sister, but my mom and sister died 4 years ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that, OP.
That sucks. And my grandparents, who hold the account, chose to leave it all for me and continued paying into it. My dad remarried 18 months after my mom and sister died, and he has a stepdaughter who is the same age as my sister would be if she were alive. 18 months, respectful time to continue f***ing after your wife died. She's a high school senior now, and talk has turned to her going to college. Her mom was single until she married my dad and never had the opportunity to start a fund before. They have something saved, but it's not enough and won't be. So my dad asked me to share mine with her. He said it was always intended to be for two people, and my sister would want her money to be used by someone in the family.
How about her literal sister?
She's dead. I told him it was being used by someone in the family. Me.
Yeah.
Her sister. And he replied that stepsister is our sister too. I told him, no, I only have one sister and she's dead. This is how I feel. I know people will give me shit for it, but I only have one sibling and that's how it will always be. That's not personal against my stepsister, but we're not sisters or even family beyond her mom being married to my dad. My dad said he was telling me I need to share the money. I told him, no.
Good.
He went to my grandparents, his parents, and they said it was for me since my sister could no longer use it. He went to my maternal grandparents then because they were the two who originally set up the account, and they told him they have no obligation to fund my stepsister going to college because she isn't their granddaughter. He's back trying to force me to say yes. His wife and daughter are also telling me it's the right thing to do, and it's what we do for family and my sister would want me to do, which pisses me off because they never met my sister, let alone know what she would want. Am I the asshole? There is an update.
Oh, man. I hope something bad happens to the dad and the sister or the mom, because just
Like die? Like the sister
not
and
like that,
wife?
but like,
You really want more tragedy to befall this family?
they just piss me off so much. This is just a classic example of dad marries someone new, which, hey, great for him.
And that box go crazy.
Now he's completely over prioritizing his new wife and her daughter over his own freaking daughter.
Hey everyone, this got way more attention than I was expecting. And so I'm going to post a response to some stuff here because I don't know how to reply to every specific question asked individually. I don't worry that my dad will get his hands on the money. I'm not going to be forced into this, and I will be gone before I have access to the money. This has already hurt my relationship with my dad. I'm not really sure there will be one in a year. I'll be 18 and can live my own life and get some peace from all this. I'll finish high school at my grandparents probably, since that's where I plan to move once I can leave this house. It makes me sad, but I lost so much already. I'm going to be okay. It will just take time. So it sounds like this is like ruining the relationship with the father. People have talked about his marrying again 18 months later, and I know there has been debate about this. I didn't pay much attention to this in my original post because I knew I would get for voicing how I felt, but it sucked. He has handled everything in the worst possible way, and I hold some resentment toward him for it. I do think he deserves to be happy, but I have been drowning in grief since I lost my mom and sister. Knowing he could try to replace his wife and daughter so soon after we lost them sucks. It hurts me, but he would see me as a brat if I told him this. I already expect people to say that when they read this. OP, You're not a brat.
Not at all.
Also, such an overstepping for the dad to ask for your college money for
Big
this,
time.
This, girl he be banging.
It's awful.
I don't know. What do you think? Is OP the a-hole?
Not even in the slightest. And I'm curious on everyone else's thoughts. And I know we've had a lot of people actually share about like this, stepmother, step family dynamic. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, especially if you've had semi-similar interactions with your stepmother, sister, father, brother, etc. But yeah, I don't think OP is the asshole in the slightest. The dad is a complete asshole for not just asking her, but pressuring her so consistently.
The pressure is terrible.
Yeah, I feel like I have a sneaking suspicion this is coming from the stepmom. But shout out to the grandparents for supporting OP. It sounds like OP is going to be able to have that money. Like the dad has no legal right.
Yeah, it seems like he could only get that money if she gave it.
Your parents.
Your parents.
Not literally. Maybe the stepmom. On to the next story. My parents stole my $4,000 tuition and gave it to my brother. I will never forgive them. Am I the a-hole? You look very concerned.
I mean, stealing any kind of money is cause for concern.
For a bit of context, around a year and a half ago when I was 15, I came up with a plan to pay for my own university fees once I finished school. Hey,
dang.
Good looking, OP. I like it. It's a little expensive, between the 4 to 5 figure range, and my family isn't the richest, so yeah. I wish to save my parents the trouble of paying and do everything myself. I plan to save up enough money until I can invest in some cheap land back in my hometown and hopefully earn lots.
15 and thinking about investing? Like,
fantastic. I told my parents this and they seemed pretty okay, at least to me, with my plan. So I began working part-time and I worked my socks off. So did I. So in those 1.5 years, I saved up around $4,000 without spending a single penny. Dang, that dedication will serve you well later in life. Now, here's where the problem began. My younger brother had his 13th birthday yesterday, and he had always wanted to have his own gaming PC set. My parents always told him that they couldn't afford it, which makes him sad. One day, I forgot to bring my wallet with me when I was going to school, which had my bank card in it. When I came back, I saw a new gaming PC sitting right in the middle of the living room.
No.
It was half unboxed, and my brother was crying and jumping around in ecstasy. I was happy for him since I thought they actually managed to buy it themselves. Until I found out shortly after that almost half of my saved up money was gone.
What kind of parents are you?
That is disgusting. Are you kidding me?
He worked 1.5 years to save up money for education.
And they spent half of it on a gaming PC.
It sucks because it's like he's just trying to improve his life and his parents are not only not supporting him, but actively fucking over his future.
And yes, we know all of each other's bank card passwords. Don't share your passwords
with anyone.
I was fuming and I lost it at my parents, demanding, why the F did you spend the money that I worked so hard for? My parents apologized, but noted that they just couldn't tell their son that they couldn't afford his dream set when there was money readily available.
It's not ready available money. This is money for his future
that he earned. I screamed at them and said that they've just stolen 1,400 pounds right under my nose without even considering asking me, and that they both owe me big time. My mom snapped back at me saying that I'm still a child belonging to them and that money should be the last thing on my mind at the moment. It's funny how it was on your mind when you stole it from me. It was a back and forth argument, and I admit I used some colorful language there before my mom went on a power trip and yelled at me to remember who I'm talking back to.
A thief?
I stomped off in anger. Some of you Redditors may think that 1,300 pounds isn't a lot in the real world, but I've worked hard after school and on weekends to get this much, and for it to be half gone in an instant is a heartbreak for me. But I think I regret some of the things I said to them, especially when all they were trying to do was make my brother happy. Am I the a-hole?
No, not at all. I want to know what everyone else thinks, but they literally stole money from you. And I think that goes to show, do not share your bank account passwords.
Not at all.
With anyone.
Yeah.
That should be solely you.
It's tough. It's tough though, because like the family, he probably had to. I don't know what the laws are like in the UK around getting a bank account, but I'm pretty sure you have to have like a guardian to get your bank account set up, and they could.
But you still own, can the guardian take away your money?
No, I don't know. That's a good question. But I could easily see probably most parents like set up the password with their kid.
I don't know. OP, change your passwords. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, that's it. That's what you got to do.
Let's get to this next story.
Boom.
I knew my father was giving us no inheritance from his millions of dollars, but I didn't tell any of my siblings. Now they are pissed. So, am I the asshole?
What's up with all these rich families?
Eat out the rich.
Eat out the rich. Interesting.
If you eat the rich, you might not get their money. My father passed away a couple months ago. We knew it was coming and there was plenty of time to prepare for it. He had a long and successful career in his younger days. 5 years ago, he sold his home to move into a very, very nice old folks home. I'll never know how much, but we can safely say he likely had at least a couple million.
I mean, that's a lot.
He loved his alma mater and was very involved in the volunteer alumni relations department in his retirement. A couple of years ago, he told me he planned to donate his entire estate to their alumni scholarship fund. He'd always been a generous man, so this didn't really shock me. I never really thought about it since.
Interesting.
Be generous to your kids.
Yeah, I honestly, like I've said in pretty recent episodes, what's the pros and cons of like giving inheritance to your children? But like giving it all to university, I don't know why that's coming off as such a asshole move. I don't know.
Then when he passed, all the funeral arrangements and whatnot were already paid for, and he had a relatively small life insurance policy at that point just to ensure nobody would have expenses associated with his death. He had a longtime lawyer friend and CPA who then officially told me and my siblings about his will. As he told me, everything was gifted to the university fund. So I wasn't surprised, but I guess he never told my siblings this. They were very surprised, wanted to challenge it, and when I said I already knew about it, they flipped. They asked some lawyers, and supposedly they have no case. He was in sound mind when he made his will, so it's cut and dry. But my siblings are pissed at me, saying when he told me, I should have tried to convince him otherwise. Told them so they could have tried to convince him otherwise too. We've gotten into it lately, and I just feel like it's all unnecessary.
Yeah.
Our dad was always generous with us, paid for our schoolings, weddings, and all of the main parent things. I really don't care about having an inheritance because we otherwise were always given everything we need. Was I being an asshole by not telling them? It really didn't even cross my mind.
So this is where I get pissed off with the inheritance stuff, because it's like, imagine the father was not well off and still provided, you know, a childhood. Maybe he wasn't able to pay for all of university. Maybe he wasn't able to pay for like a nice extravagant wedding, right? But gave you good love, gave you a good home, did all that good stuff. Would you be mad when you don't receive any inheritance from him? It's the same scenario both ways. You don't receive inheritance from the rich father, and you don't receive inheritance from the not wealthy father.
Yeah.
But you are angry at the wealthy father for this.
I mean, I don't
know what I'm saying?
think the kids should be angry, but if it was me, I would donate the money to my kids.
And it's not that the kids should get no money, but it's the perversing the memory of their father by expecting so much.
Expecting cash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The expectation kind of perverses the relationship, which is something that I think is not good.
I agree. But, you want to hear about my date?
Yeah, I do. Let's get into it.
Okay, so it was a friend's girlfriend's friend.
Right.
Is in Bali where we are for a month. And my friend was like, oh, you should meet up with her. And so she looked kind of cute on Instagram and like she seemed nice. And so we met up yesterday.
Yep.
And I was kind of going in with it with friend vibes anyway, because like Ashley, you know, my Australian thottie.
Wow, thottie. Okay.
But dude, she literally comes to the table and says, I love to lie. Is that not a red flag?
Oh, it's totally a red flag.
I didn't like it. She was like much more energetically reserved and like a little shy.
Right.
Okay. I need a woman's thought process on what this means. This is Campbell. So I'm going on this date with this girl. It's kind of a date. It's like a friend introduction, like almost like a courtesy hangout, I think mutually. She asked me if like I want to go into the bathroom to like look at something.
Interesting, right?
Apparently there's something in the bathroom though, like that's legitimately interesting to look at. Anyway, I make a joke about like, hey, you need to buy me a set of drinks before you can just be inviting me into bathrooms and place, right? So there's like this little bit of like undertone of sexuality. We go from that to another bar, play pool. We're playing pool. We play for the next round of drinks. She wins. She destroys me. And there's like a couple more like sexual jokes. It's like fun, but I'm not putting my 100% flirt on her. And then we go to one more bar and we go to Old Man's, which is like a club, and it's freaking popping. And we go to the dance floor and she said she's wanted to dance, and we get to the dance floor and then she is just either the worst dancer ever or
Wow.
just can't it refuses to dance. We went to the other dance floor and she just wasn't feeling it. And then we got like another set of drinks. I'm like, hey, like, you know, I'll spin you around. Let's do some dances together. And we do one and she's just not getting it. And I'm just like, okay, maybe it's kind of too loud to even talk. And she doesn't want to talk to anyone new. And so I was just like, are you uncomfortable right now?
Nice. Dude, that's how you know the date's going really well.
And she's like, no, but I am a little tired. I'm like, okay, like, let's leave. We can like leave and then you can get like a grab home or something. I'm expecting that when we leave Old Man's, she's going to get a grab, which is like Uber, immediately back. And she's like, how close is your villa from here?
Uh-oh. How about your bathroom? Trying to see that.
Yeah. So like, how would you interpret that?
Interesting. I'm tired screams, I'm not going home with you. I'm tired to me says, I'm done. I think it's curious that she's the one who's saying that she wanted to dance and then was like, never mind.
She also started with that she loves a lot.
We also might hang out with this person. So just so you know.
Looking forward to meeting her.
Just setting it up so well.
I did hear her come in last night, so like I already knew the end of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all around weird. I also, the invite into the bathroom.
I think it was a joke. We shouldn't read too much into it.
No, however, usually you can just be like, you go look. You don't have to be like, come with me.
Right. Also, it's like into the women's bathroom, I'm assuming.
I have no idea. I don't know the bathroom setup. She's like, oh, like, is your villa close? And I'm like, yeah, it's a couple minute walk. You can order your grab from there, right?
Yeah, you can leave from there.
And so we get there and she's not ordering her grab. And I'm like, so are you going to order? It's like a little awkward. I'm kind of done. I thought she was done. But then she's kind of looking at me and like still talking. And she's like, oh yeah, I don't think it's working. And then puts her phone down. And then I'm like, don't worry, I'll pull in the address.
I'll order it for you.
Wow.
So like it was going well until Old Man's. Old Man's, she gave me hard signals like, hey, I want this to be over.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, down. As soon as we leave, I feel like I was getting signals that she was like interested in again. And I was just confused.
I think it's very important to remember that like, even if you're only giving 70% of your riz, that is most people's 100%. I think that's crucial to remember.
Flattering me. And then she sent me this morning.
Also, while you're pulling that up, what if this was like her really like strange way of, I want to get back to the place faster. So instead of being, oh, hey, like, let's go check out your place, let me just like shut down the vibe here so I can turn on the vibe there.
That actually... Well, that might, cause
it's very weird, but like
isn't saying I'm tired, I have work at like in the morning, that feels like a universal, like
very,
I'm done with the day.
I would be like, okay, full
it's
retract.
A downer. You're being a downer.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I want to go home. I need to work.
I mean, like, I'm fine with that.
Okay, so she gets home, she texts you. Thank you for such a fun night. Not only did I love beating you at games, but bar hopping was a blast. Signs say otherwise. I'd love to show y'all some other spots soon. Cute. Okay, I love a confirmation she's safe. That's great. We should try for sunset at La Brisa tomorrow. Cute. This could be taken in so many different ways. I mean, these are very normal friend texts. I think you're in friend category. I think you are safe. Sounds like is the right category for somebody who introduces themselves as compulsive liar.
All right. Well, that has been a breakdown analysis of my meeting yesterday.
Your meeting. Yes. Your consensual courtesy meeting.
Yes.
By the way, round of applause for Campbell for just beautifully dissecting that.
Just jumping in.
That's right. A random kid told me I'm his real father. I told him, I don't care. I don't want a relationship with you. Am I the a-hole?
Daddy, is that you?
You my real dad?
This is just turning sexual now.
The voice was way too much.
Oh, Daddy. Daddy.
Let's get into it. From 18 to 25, I was an absolute wild child. Lots of beer and lots of hookups where we didn't even know each other's names. I was dealing with lots of damage to the point where I don't remember most of those years. Now at almost 40, I'm much better now with therapy and Alcoholics Anonymous and my saint of a wife, but that's the important background. I was clear with my wife that it is quite possible that I have some kids out there.
I was raw dogging every port in town, baby.
Goodness gracious. Though, A lot of the women I slept with have no way of contacting me to be sure. My wife budgeted some savings for if we ever have to pay child support for a couple of kids, but just ask that I get a paternity test before we welcome them in. We have no kids of our own and don't really want any. Last year, a 16-year-old boy contacted me saying that I was his real father.
Real? Like there's a fake father?
Like, I want to be a real boy. We'll call him K. K claimed to be the son of one of my old classmates and that his mom had raised him by herself because she didn't want to cause any trouble. But she had told him about me the whole time, and he spent a lot of his life Googling me. He had finally worked up the courage to contact me and asked if we could meet.
That's cute. If I had a 16-year-old kid, I would meet him.
I would be excited.
Yeah, I would be excited. I'm like, oh my God. I could like almost drink with my son. I could smoke a cig with my son in money. I could drink with him in Russia.
Move to Russia.
Drink some vodka.
Now that's grade A parenting right there. Since I can neither confirm nor deny sleeping with his mother, I agreed to meet between our two towns. I drove about 5 hours and he drove about 45 minutes, though I did tell him about my wife's request. He was fine with it. We met after the paternity kit got here. He did the spit thing, gave it back, and we sat and talked and had lunch and then drove back home.
I think they're related.
Opie's the father?
Yeah, they gotta be.
We were not a match.
Oh, that's tragic because not only does this kid learn that OP is not the father, but he also learns that his mom was a hoe.
Jesus Christ. Samuel. I had my profile done a while ago just so that it was out there in case any kids found me that way. Kay and I are not related. I contacted him, gave him all of his data, and I let him down gently. He was devastated, crying, claiming that it wasn't real, that he had spent his entire life idolizing me, and then I had to be his dad.
Oh, dude.
He begged me to have a relationship, but I'm not entirely interested in building one with a random kid. I apologized again, but left it at that. His mom reached out, begging me as well, saying that she was so sure I was the father that it's destroying him not knowing who his real dad is.
I mean, like, how many people did you hook up with?
I mean, it could literally be one other person. That's all it takes.
Exactly. For all we know, it could be like another 300 dudes.
I said it was a real shame, but the father isn't me. I am not dad material, especially not for somebody else's kid. This just came up in a convo recently and sparked an argument. Some say it's fine. Others say it's cruel to abandon a kid who spent his entire life believing he was mine. So, am I the asshole here?
I want to know what everyone else thinks. Put your answers in the comments. But no way. If one of our followers was like, Sam, I've been idolizing you for the past 3 years. You're my daddy. Depending on how hot she was, like, no, I'm kidding.
No, he's not.
I'm kidding. Just like call me.
Go to Bali, surf in an area that we're in, and just see how I protected you.
Wow, you really protected me.
And just reach up and touch his buttocks while he's doing a handstand. That's the way to meet him.
Yeah, if you see me in public, slap my ass.
There we go.
I don't know if I want that. Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Just see me in public. No grabbing, but you can slap.
There we go. Touch, don't feel.
Touch, don't feel.
That's the rule.
But yeah, I mean, if someone like random person on the internet was like, you're my dad, and just because they built this fantasy in their heads doesn't mean that I have to like play into their fantasy and fulfill every want and desire and every hole that they want filled.
God damn.
I'm talking about the holes in their heart.
Oh, wow. The holes in their heart, right? Yeah.
I'm not going to fill every one of their holes just because they called me daddy.
Of course.
I'll consider it though.
Starting now. All the times in the past, that was a different story. Today is a new day, gentlemen. Samuel Donner is starting anew.
Oh, no. I'm saving my genitals for Ashley.
That's right. Yeah. I like how you almost said heart, but then switched it up. Yeah.
My dad sent me an email saying that I shouldn't sleep around.
Wow, that is so incredible.
He said something sacred in you. It's actually really well thought out.
Honestly, that is really sweet and really...
Here, I'm going to say I love you, Dad.
I feel like that's a good approach. From father to son, that's a sweet move. I like that. It's very kind. This is not me trying to earn brownie points.
You become a beacon of light for so many, and are building a media entertainment company that is producing incredible, impactful content, both with heart and humor.
Wow. Dude.
That's us.
What a guy.
As we have talked, we entrepreneurs move so fast, sometimes we forget about ourselves and the incredible deep inner work that we need to do, which, by the way, is lifelong. You can't ever stop improving. One thing I thought of for my own self is early on understanding to some degree what I hold sacred in myself and letting that guide me. That said, even the most sacred in us will get challenged through our life, but if we do the inner work, we always come back. Perhaps my early Catholic upbringing set some things in me first, the commandments, but later on for me, they became my sacred acknowledgement. I wanted deep relationships and I sought them in all my houses, relationship, friendship, family, business, external. That way, I always knew who had my back. Frank.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but that is such a beautiful and passionate way to tell your son not to stick his penis in people. Like, I am blown away. I think it's really sweet.
He's like always really good about like saying like, hey, I'm not judging you, but like,
Yeah.
make sure what you're doing actually aligns with your values.
And like also father to son, I feel like that's a very...
He's great. He's great. Great guy. So I'm going to not sleep around unless they call me daddy.
Asterisk. Oh man.
Should we get into this next story?
Yeah, let's fuck it up.
My wife just found out that she's infertile, so now we're getting a divorce. We both wanted children, and I'm furious with her. Am I the asshole?
How dare your ovaries not work?
I know.
Come on now.
I'm bringing all the semen to the semen party, and your guy doesn't even have a party there.
No kids. I got a whole daycare coming in.
I got a whole army trying to break down your fortress.
Oh goodness.
We have been married for 5 years. We have been trying to conceive for some time. We ran through an array of tests and found out she couldn't get pregnant. IVF is not an option. Starting a family and raising children were something we both wanted to do. It was pretty shocking. My wife has taken it very badly. She has been moody and angry. I've tried to give her space and tried to talk to her about it, but she lashes out at both. It has been a week and she said she wanted to file for divorce and be done with our marriage. She sounds angry when she talks about it, and she said it was better that we get it over and done with now. We got into an argument and she said I should find a woman who could give me what I want. She's like, I can't. I'm like, I'm never going to be enough for you. And it's like, you have this plan of what you think your partner is going to be. She's like, I'm not that for you.
Does OP still feel that way?
Well, I have tried to convince her that I have no intention of leaving her. She doesn't believe me. I don't know what to do here. I know she's just trying to deal with all these emotions by turning it into an anger and then projecting it on me. I don't know how to deal with it. She is supposed to be the rational one in the relationship. We've gone through a lot and she has dealt with everything with calmness. I know she's hurting a lot. I just wish I could help her feel a bit better. And there is an update. I want to know if anyone in this situation, like anyone who can't have kids, how did you deal with that news?
Yeah, I think what are all the ways that the relationship could move forward? Like, for instance, adoption, right?
Well, let's get into this update and see what happens. So a lot has happened. I asked her that if she wanted to get divorced in 6 months' time, we could get one, but we should drop it for now. She agreed to it. I took over most of the cooking and I pretty made all of her favorite dishes. She was still angry, but less so. 2 days ago, she was finally in a place to process her emotions. She spent half the night crying in my arms. It was heartbreaking, but I held on. Today, this morning, I cracked a joke and she laughed after what feels like a long time. She said she was going to start therapy because she wanted to be in a good mental place before we started the adoption process. There's a lot of work ahead of us, but I am fairly certain I am not getting divorced in 6 months. TLDR, I took care of her while she processed it. She's doing better now, and she's planning to go to therapy.
Wow. That is the wholesome, beautiful outcome that we all live for.
That's great. That's great. I'm so happy for OP.
Yeah. And hopefully the adoption process goes well. They get a kid and happily ever after.
Yeah, but there's a lot of ways to skin a cat or to skin a child, you know?
That is one way of metaphorically describing it.
Yep, and I'm sticking with it. But let's get to this next story.
Let's do it. I lied about who my baby daddy is, but my cousin might tell him. Should I keep hiding the truth? Am I the a-hole?
Children are not a gift that you should give to another person. You should never white elephant children.
This baby daddy has unloaded a whole can of nuts and chaos is about to ensue. So let's find out.
Great segue.
By the way, this was submitted by one of our incredible fans and community members, Reddit user AssumptionOK2753.
You should also submit your stories to r/OKOP show if you want us to read them.
That's right. All right, let's get into it. I, 26 female, grew up in the Midwest, but went to college in California. There, I met and dated Jeff, 26 male, for the final 2 years of undergraduate. After graduation, I stayed in California to get my master's degree while Jeff entered the workforce. We were happy together and we planned to get married after I got my master's. After I finished my schooling, Jeff got cold feet about getting married and eventually becoming a father. Abandonment issues from his own bio dad leaving, so he broke up with me.
Wow. So she poked holes holes in all the condoms. You're not getting away that fast, Big
Oh,
Daddy.
man. Heartbroken feels like it would barely scratch the surface of how it felt. I had a great job in California, so I stayed there in hopes that Jeff would come to his senses and we'd get back together. Now, he met Grace, 25, and started dating her about 5 months after we broke up. I started planning on moving back home to my home state once I realized it was actually over. Then he and Grace broke up at the beginning of the year. Jeff and I ended up sleeping together a few times while they were broken up. It was a very public breakup, no cheating involved. About a week after the last time we did it, he told me that he and Grace were getting back together. He said he couldn't remain friends with me because he still had feelings for me and he had to let them fade to be fair to Grace.
I mean, that is true. That is true. It's so messy. I've literally been in this exact situation.
It is, but it's hard. His final words to me were to not call him unless I was literally dying and just wanting to say goodbye. The only words you can say to me are, I'm on my deathbed and I need to talk to you one last time to say, fuck you. I left California behind 3 weeks later. 2 weeks after I returned home, I found out that I was pregnant.
Yikes.
My man's a straight shooter. The baby was Jeff's. I wasn't going to be that girl that uses a pregnancy to get a man back, so I deleted all my social media accounts and made new ones that don't have my name attached to them. The only California people I added were trusted friends who I knew either had no connection to Jeff or were loyal to me and wouldn't tell him about my new accounts. Early in my pregnancy, I made the mistake of checking out Jeff's and Grace's respective profiles, and I saw that they refer to each other as Lommel, love of my life. And Jeff even had a picture of them captioned saying that he was going to marry that girl. That broke me all over again, and I have since blocked them both and decided I have to move on with my life.
It wasn't just that he wasn't ready for marriage. It was just like you weren't the person that he wanted to marry.
Damn. I am now 6.5 months pregnant. Since moving back, I have bought my own house in my home state, and I've been really busy building a nursery for my baby. I already love this little baby in my belly, and I feel 100% confident that I can raise and provide for him on my own with minor help from my family. One of my best friends back in California was having an engagement party. I won't be able to attend the wedding as I'll be busy with a newborn when it happens, so I decided to fly out to see my friends and offer my congratulations to the couple before life becomes baby-centric. I got into town on Thursday and honestly had a blast seeing all of my friends yesterday, even though it's only been about 6 months since I've last seen them. They were all respectful of my wishes not to take pictures of me below the chest. They did post some pictures of me online, but from the angles where it looks like I've just gained some weight in my face. Still works, I guess. Nothing that would give away the pregnancy. It's a couple of days before booking my flight back home, and the friend that I'm staying with suggested that we go to the store because she wanted to get a scrapbook for our engaged friend. So we went to the store, and as we're getting ready to leave, I see Jeff's cousin, Tanya, 20-ish female, walk in. I talked to her several times at Jeff's family gatherings over the years, but we never really got along. She was always a bit too gossipy for me to like her.
Oh, literally the worst person.
So, of course, she was the last person I wanted to see. The first thing she did was loudly announce that I was pregnant, as if everyone in the store couldn't just tell by looking at me. Then she started grilling me, asking if Jeff knows. I said no, and that he doesn't need to know, as it's not his. That was a lie, obviously, but I didn't want to open a can of worms. Tanya then tells me, with how big my belly is, that I'm far along and asked how I could move on so quickly. My goodness. She's like, well, this is 6 months since the last time I saw you guys, Bobby Steakhouse, so Tanya needs to become a detective over here. Good gravy. I told her that Jeff and I broke up a long time ago. She responded saying that everyone knows that we were still hooking up at the beginning of this year. I did not know that this was common knowledge. I figured Jeff would have kept his mouth shut about that. Anyway, I lied and told her that I already had a new boyfriend and I was 5 months pregnant. She seemed to accept that and awkwardly congratulated me. My friend and I paid for her stuff and we left immediately after that. I've prayed that that would be the end of it.
Oh God, it's not going to be the end of it.
But like I said, Tanya loves gossip. So of course she went and ran her mouth about seeing me pregnant just a few hours later. Now a bunch of my friends have messaged me saying that Jeff is blowing up their inboxes trying to reach me. None of them have told him about my new number or social media, so he has no way of reaching me himself. My flight back home isn't for another 2 days and I'm freaking out. Some of my friends are saying that I should just tell him the truth, that now he knows that I am pregnant. I still say I can get by pretending it's somebody else's and that I'm not far enough along for it to be his. I honestly just want to ignore him and go back home. However, I'm having some doubt doubts that that's the right choice, and there isn't a consensus on what to do, so I'm turning to internet strangers.
I have some thoughts. I want to know what everyone else would do.
Yeah.
Put your answers in the comments.
If anyone's been in a similar situation.
But I personally think it's an asshole move, extenuating circumstances of abuse or whatever. It is an asshole move to not tell the father of your child that it is their child.
Yeah, I mean, I very much feel for OP and like all the things that she's gone through.
But I think she's still the asshole.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jeff also should have not been messy at the same time.
Jeff's going through a hard spot. Yes, but he didn't violate the relationship. He was just hooking up with this person. He didn't say that he wanted a relationship with her. I think he was operating above board.
The big thing here is I have to imagine that he knew, like she said, she stayed in California in hopes of them getting back together. And he probably was aware of maybe not exactly how she felt, but that she was still like available and down.
Yeah, but like it's normal to hook up with your exes after a breakup.
It's normal, but is it good?
No, it's not good. I'm not saying it is not messy and like these are some very messy situations. Is he an asshole? I do not think so.
Yeah.
Consensually hooking up with your ex is not an asshole move.
If he knew some degrees of how vulnerable she is in terms of like wanting to get back into his life and giving her the hope again that might happen because of that I think is the a-hole move. If he hooked up with her and they had both like moved on and it was just like, all right, let's just run it back, and it's not like she had been pining for him for all of this time.
But he doesn't know how she's feeling.
He might not. He totally might not, but I just have a sneaking assumption and suspicion that he might know to some degree how she feels and that she stayed for him. I could be wrong though.
Yeah. I think based on the information we've been given, he is not the asshole.
But I do think it is
obviously it's complicated, you know.
Yeah, it's complicated.
It's not super black and white.
And it is an a-hole move, I think, to not tell the person who you had a baby with.
What do you think of our takes? Put your answers in the comments. We want to read them and look at them. And we want to look at you.
Oh, yes. And let us know your stories below. If you've been in a similar situation, tell us.
I saved a dumbass kid's life from a dangerous horse. And now his Karen mom is furious. I might be banned from the stable. Am I the asshole?
Let children die.
They always say save the children, but I ask, why? I, 25 female, work in a stable. On Saturday mornings, we have beginner groups for kids. Them and their parents gather for 1.5 hours every Saturday. When the kids have their first lesson, I teach them the first 3 rules that must be followed at all times. 1, no running in the stables around the horses. 2, no screaming in the stables. 3, never walk up/stand behind a horse. The new group had their 3rd lesson today. Usually the kiddos are really good at following the rules and listen to what I say. If they don't, their parents usually step up and get them to behave. But I have this one boy who's been a problem since day 1.
Oh, God.
He's loud, he runs, and he's very disruptive. After the first lesson, I pulled his mother aside and asked that she help him calm. And if he's not listening to me, it would be very helpful if she told him off. So the mom's like coming in to set things right.
Straight up.
Remember that girl that I was like hit on the beach, and then we went, and then she's gonna leave, and then
Yes.
she's here.
Oh my God.
The Australian girl.
She's here right now. Just go. Okay. Open the door. Dun, 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 dun. That's all you get, okay?
That's Ashley. Anyway, back to the story.
Back to the story.
I guess she didn't listen, as last week we had the same issues. This time I told him that if he didn't listen to me, he would not get to ride the horses. He threw a tantrum and she didn't help.
Oof.
Today, I was dreading teaching him, and I don't know if my patience is wearing thin or if he was worse than usual, but it was driving me crazy. At one point, he's bolting full speed ahead toward the horse facing away from him. Before he can get too close, I managed to grab his arm and pull him to a stop. I guess I grabbed him a little hard because he yelped like a little bitch boy.
Yeah.
His mother storms up to me and grabs her son and tells me not to touch him, and how dare I do this to him. I tell her he's a danger to himself and others, which totally, I mean, man's about to give himself more brain damage than he already has.
Big facts.
She disagrees and argues with me, and at this point, I'm fed up and tell her that if he dies in their stable because he scares a horse, it would be on her. She's furious and grabs her son and storms off. The other parents seem relieved about the fact that he's probably not coming back. But when I tell a friend about this, she calls me an effing psycho for saying that to a mom. Am I the asshole? And there's an update. But John, what do you think?
First off, it's multiple layers. There's the crazy kids that are like causing
Fuck
a
'em.
ruckus, endangering everyone else, including themselves.
Yep.
Wouldn't the mom rather their son be safe? Like, that is the real question here.
Not if she's stressed.
This kid needs to be stopped. The mom needs to be stopped.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay, let's get into this update.
Let's do it.
The Monday after it all went down, my boss / the manager of the stable got a call from the mom. She was furious, demanded her money back for the 3 lessons, etc., etc. I had explained everything to my boss before, so she told the mom that she wouldn't get her money back as she had agreed to this when she signed up for her son's lessons.
There we go.
Good manager. She also told her that since her son was a danger not only to himself, but to others, he wasn't welcome back. Boom! The mom went batshit and yelled a bunch of obscenities before hanging up. A calm 2 weeks followed before shit hit the fan.
Uh-oh.
The first thing that happened was that we arrived to the stable in the morning to find all the ponies had gotten out of their pasture. The ponies are quote unquote free range. Basically, they are out 24/7, and somehow they had escaped and were thankfully just grazing up in the forest close to the stable. We thought that maybe a wild animal had gotten into the pasture and spooked them. A moose maybe. Whilst we usually don't have any wolves around there, they had been seen close, so that's not impossible. We checked the fence and fixed it, and all was well. Didn't think much about it until it escalated.
Of course.
One night, a couple of days later, I get a call that the outhouse the ponies usually sleep in was on fucking fire. Burning to the ground.
Oh my God.
It was so scary. Thankfully, they were not in the house when this happened, but someone wanted to hurt them. You can't see anything in the pasture at night, so you couldn't see that they were outside. That day, we bought cameras and notified the police, of course, but they couldn't do much. They told us it was probably some kids doing it. There have been fires set in dumpsters and a garden shed recently, so we installed the cameras and took turns staying in the stable at night. Nothing really happened for a week and a half. So we stopped staying there. A few days later, I arrived in the morning to find cuts on some of the horses. Someone had come to the stable and fucking hurt the horses. I called my colleagues and police, and when we watched the camera footage, there was a man seen entering and exiting the stable. Effing guess what? It was the husband of the crazy mom. The police arrested him, so hopefully they both get what's coming to them. It's been a crazy few weeks, and I'm quite tired, but I'm okay, and the horses are on their way to okay as well.
Oh my God. To go so far as to harm innocent animals is just like beyond
terrible.
comprehension.
Yeah. Fucking awful.
How can you Ken and Karen that hard?
Yeah, the OP's so not in the wrong here.
Yeah.
And also fucking crazy that the Karen just like tracked these horses down to like cause all this mischief.
Is your life really so shitty that you have to go and do this? Like,
get a life.
yeah, Karens.
And you know what gives me life?
What?
John's next story.
Yeah, it does. I just mistook a very big movie star for an extra in a movie, and I told him he can't eat anything on the set. Now I'm horrified. Am I the a-hole? So I used to work in film and TV production. I had just graduated college and finally got a shot to work as a production assistant on Spider-Man Homecoming.
Fucking love that movie, dude.
This was my first union run set. I didn't and I still don't care about Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, nor did I really follow who was acting in them at all. At this time, during the shoot, Tom Holland was pretty new to the role, and the only thing I think he was in that people had heard of was Civil War, which I hadn't seen. My boss told me that I had to watch the food spread for any extras coming in and direct them to a different food spread, as extras were not allowed to have the main spread. This may sound kind of rude to do, but this is pretty typical if you have a lot of extras because it would take too much time for everyone to get a plate and eat, so they divide it up.
Exactly. You're just not important enough to be fed.
Anyway, it was right before break, and my boss told me that I was waiting for the cast and crew to arrive so I could get my food and wait around. So I did. While getting food, I noticed a black Cadillac pulling up. This should have been my first clue. And a few people got out. Tom Holland being one of them.
Oh, shit.
Oh, sheesh. Again, I still didn't know who he was, so I thought maybe he was just an extra. Tom is a super nice kid. He came right up to me in line and started talking to me, asking how I was doing and all that. As we were making small talk, I interrupted him and I said, I don't mean to interrupt. By any chance, you wouldn't have to be an extra, would you? His face looked really confused and it looked like he thought I was joking. And all he said was, no, I play Spider-Man?
Oh my God. So embarrassing
Bro.
for OP. How do you not know the main characters of the movie you're working on?
My stomach dropped. All I could think of in my head was my first big set, and I had mistaken the lead actor for an extra. I apologized to him and told him that I didn't know who was playing Spider-Man at all, nor did I ever watch any of the movies before.
That's even worse.
I feel like this is not helping at all. He laughed and said it was okay. I BS'd with him for a couple of minutes after until he had to go back to his trailer. I was happy that he took it as well as he did, and it was really cool to meet him too, but I was so incredibly embarrassed.
As you should be.
I should have told him that I was from another universe and our Spider-Man looked different, but no, then he'd probably just have called me a nerd. On big sets like this, typically what happens is that production changes the name of the film in case the film was called Summer of George. Okay.
Oh, so it's like you don't necessarily even know what the name of the film you're working on is.
Right. This is for anonymity among outsiders so we don't attract a crowd. This goes for the same thing with the cast names in the call sheet. It's usually abbreviated. When I got the call sheet the night before, all I had gotten was where and what time the PA's production assistants were supposed to be. I didn't even know it was going to be a Marvel movie until I signed my contract.
Oh, okay. So that feels like a little bit like OP gets there's a little bit of a break.
But also, like, it's also Tom Holland.
It's also Tom Holland.
I don't know. Like, I feel like if you're going to be in the movie,
OP has been under a rock. Yeah, if you're going to be in the movie industry, know the movies.
Know the most famous actor on the planet that is under 25 years old. Like,
yeah, come on.
Do that much.
Like, is that not your job?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's not technically your job, but well, no, it is. It's your job to know the actors.
It low key is.
Yeah.
It's like in
Get
the
your
subtext.
shit together, OP.
Yeah, that's right. But speaking of getting my shit together, I would love you to shit this next story all over me.
I would love that too, but can you tell me about those rings?
So we made these rings. This one is a garnet stone. We cut out the silver. So we picked our own designs. She picked this like garnet gem. You can't really see it. I'll just do my absolute best. Riley, what do I do? This. Hold it in. Do your thing, editors. To zoom in on that. I made waves. So it's like.
Oh, that's cute.
It was a great anniversary. So thanks for asking.
You know what other third thing I'd like to get into?
Oh, God.
This third story.
Yes.
I just found out the guy that I hooked up with is in a relationship and cheating on his girlfriend. Don't worry, I'm going to gather evidence and tell her everything. Am I the asshole? For privacy reasons, I'm going to use other names in this wild ride of the past few months. I'm 23 female, was using Tinder, and I found this really cool guy, Riley. I'm just kidding, it's Chris. 23 male on there back in October. We both matched and the conversation was going well and it clicked well. We never decided to make it a relationship because we both wanted friends with benefits, which is what Riley wants too.
That's true.
We talk about other people we found on Tinder and even had another girl in the action before. I decided to do some snooping on Facebook and saw he was in a relationship with a girl named Lily, 24 female.
Of course.
I asked him about it and he said they broke up a month ago. He then changes his status to single. I thought nothing of it. Mistake number one. I actually think it's not a mistake. Who uses Facebook? A month goes by and I found this nice guy. So great, we decided to go exclusive, aka boyfriend and girlfriend.
Ooh.
I cut out my friends with benefits and stick to nice guy for a couple months. Cue Chris trying to constantly hit me up the past couple months. I told him no, that I have a boyfriend now.
Yeah.
He decided to leave me alone for a week before trying again. And then he's backed off for a month till out of bloody nowhere, he tries me up again a few days ago. So I go to his Facebook and behold, his relationship status has been changed to dating Lily again. But the weird thing is, the start date was back when they originally got together many months ago, which again, I think is normal. A lot of couples don't count when they if they broke up and got back together, they count from the start date.
It's just like weird because
I don't know if it's that weird. I hooked up with this girl who's now married and I was the guy in between. I was the brick. Keep in mind, I thought they broke up and he even changed his relationship status when he and I were messing around. So I try messaging Lily on Facebook. I found her because she is linked in the relationship status post and I tried telling her about what's going on with Chris. She goes on about trusting him and she'll need proof if he's trying to get together with me. So my boyfriend and I come up with a plan. I decided to continue texting Chris and ask him if he'd like to meet up. He said yes.
Uh-oh.
That's proof enough for me.
Yeah.
I continue gathering proof to make sure it was a hookup. All signs point to yes. I tried showing the messages to Lily over Facebook, and she said he'd never follow through with it. She trusts him. Lily. So the plan was set. I'd go over to his house that night and record everything that happened. Obviously, no sex happened because all I wanted to do was get him to admit that he hasn't only been trying to hook up with me, but has also hooked up with other women during this entire time he's been together with Lily.
Wow, it's a sting.
Yeah, it's a sting operation. So after I get my evidence, I text Lily to come in. So it's like a Chris Hansen situation. Cue Chris being shocked. And then I walk out with my phone, which had the voice recording of everything that he said, admitting that he's been cheating on her. And then I leave. The next morning, I text the girl and ask if she's doing okay. I ask her, you broke up with him, right? She said, no, I did not, that he has one more chance. So I asked, why? Are you still with him after all this bullshit and lying that he's done to you? She says, well, I really love him and he knows not to do this again. She then thanks me for keeping it real and proceeds to not talk to me. Then this guy, Chris, texts me and says, I can't believe you did this. You are unbelievable. So my question is, am I the asshole for exposing this guy as a cheater? And there is a small update. The guy wouldn't stop messaging me. He said I was a piece of shit, but at least I'm not the reason my faith in humanity is lost. So I told him to grow up. He was the one who was playing around with girls and that he can't put the blame on someone else. So it'll be the a-hole.
Not at all. This wasn't one of those scenarios where you're like trying to bait someone who like isn't cheating. This is someone who was already cheating and you are exposing the cheating.
Yeah, this isn't the equivalent of like leaving the keys in the Lamborghini with the door open and the hood, you know, like
not an episode of Cops.
Not an episode of Cops. Like this was the cheating-ish behavior was already happening. And she was just gathering evidence.
That's right. So you don't hate the player, hate the game. Or actually, don't hate the game, hate the player.
Hate that player, imprison him, cut off his balls. But with that, I think that's a wrap on this episode.
That's right. We got to put this one to sleep.
Also, Ashley is still here. And she's talking to people. She's right there. She's doing well. She seems to be very bubbly.
My homophobic mother-in-law is going to shut down the wedding. I want to cut her out of my life. Am I the a-hole?
I think just cut her.
Context. My friend F is gay and has been with his future dear husband for about 10 years. They had to fight a lot to be together. In addition to being estranged from both families, they work in very manly, meaning homophobic, fields and have endured all kinds of career setbacks along with a very hostile work environment on a daily basis. A few years ago, their company went through high-level management to change and they finally had some relief. And future dear husband got a promotion and proposed to my friend F. Woo! Yeah, baby. Now, after all they have been through, they planned a dream wedding and a big party. Not a huge number of people. As I said, they are no contact with their family and obviously have no work friends, but in an extravaganza.
Damn, obviously have no work friends.
A few months ago, to everyone's surprise, F's mom contacted him for the first time in almost a decade.
Wow.
She had heard about the wedding, no idea how, and wanted to make amends.
Oh, that's nice.
Seems pretty great, right? Yeah. To make it short, she was incredibly sorry for how she treated him, that she knew better nowadays, and asked if she could be a part of this important event in his life. She even begged him to let her pay for the whole thing.
What?
His parents are quite wealthy, as a very big apology. F was over the moon. It looked like everything was falling into place in his life. When he told me about it, I felt uneasy, but brushed it off, crediting it to my unforgiving nature and previous hate of her. I've known him for 17 plus years, and even before he came out, she was already what any Satan offspring aspires to be.
Oh my God.
And mostly because it was none of my business. Future dear husband also expressed concerns about her sudden generosity.
Yeah, I wonder where this is coming from.
But he had to back off because F was so happy about having his mom back in his life that future dear husband felt that he didn't have the right to take that away from him, which...
yeah, makes sense.
I get it. Over the next year, the mother made the wedding her top priority in life. She intermediated every transaction, contacted the suppliers back and forth, and basically organized the whole thing, plus signed all the checks.
That's really nice.
That seems to be good, right?
Yeah.
Like taking care of all the details. Everyone was quite amused that things were going so well, and I almost believe she was a human being for a change.
Almost.
We should all know better.
Flash forward to today. 10
no.
days before the big day, F receives a call from one of the suppliers saying that the mother was out of reach and if F had any number that they could call. Sure, but maybe he could help. Oh, it's nothing much, just an issue with the repayment. Wait, what repayment? Oh, the partial repayment on the cancellation. Say what again? F hung up and tried to call the mother with no luck. Then calls future dear husband, who, being the smart man he is, immediately reaches out to all the suppliers. You guessed right. She canceled the whole thing, including the very exclusive, almost a year in advance reservation venue.
What a terrible person.
Could you imagine going through all of that just to
fuck over your kid?
What's up with these overachieving fucking haters?
She literally for a year, she's plotting this evilness.
She took all the matters in her hands to make sure she could sneakily cancel it, since she signed all the contracts to let them find out only at the wedding day. Wow. Again, she spent thousands of dollars, even with the repayments she may have got, so she could undo it at last minute to make sure the wedding wasn't happening. My God. F just called me in tears. I've never hated anyone so hard in my life, and I'm a pretty hateful biatch. Tell him, Opie, how much of a sociopath do you have to be to do that? Good
Seriously.
question. To go this far only to destroy their only son's happiness? I can't believe it. But joke's on her. We are assembling all of the friends tonight to see how we can solve this, because this wedding is going to happen, even if I gotta officiate it myself.
Good friends.
Yeah, that is a great friend. Now, fear nothing, beloved internet. We'll be marrying those bastards so hard they'll have no idea. We reunited a very solid group of people who are highly committed to making this happen. The thing about having almost everyone against you is those who are by your side are really by your side. Now, there is an update.
Okay.
But,
I mean, this mother-in-law is absolutely
absolutely
or this
a-hole.
mother, yeah, just so terrible. I don't think I've ever heard something that evil.
Me and another friend took some days off to work solely on the event. We were in charge to bribe and bully all the vendors to cancel the cancellation. It took us 2 days to reach out to all of them. Do you guys have any idea how many details are involved in a wedding?
Probably a lot.
A lot, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it in McDonald's. As a lot of you predicted, most of them were happy to oblige. To my surprise, the main concern got solved quickly, which was the location.
Oh.
As we expected, it was already booked, but F and future dear husband's boss was sent from above like an angel in a suit and immediately offered his house to host the wedding.
Oh, wow.
And guys, why aren't we all CEOs? This was a effing fairy tale mansion.
Damn, dude.
I completely changed my mind about the McDonald's wedding. I also ended up helping with some flower ornaments, and they turned out magnificent. I have real talent, guys. And at the end, the whole place looked like a perfect dream, and in my opinion, even better than the original idea. Friends 1, evil mother 0.
Fuck that mother.
Yeah. The original caterer refused to reconsider the wedding because the menu was unique and needed several important ingredients, which they claimed to be unable to get in such short notice. But we were fully committed. Everyone went above and beyond to make the dinner happen, including an angel from the catering company who went behind their boss's back and handed us the whole dinner planning.
Oh, shit.
Dang. I don't know the details. I was only on flower duty, but I heard people contacting friends overseas and had them buying the ingredients locally, then shipping it to our country on top priority for a small fortune. What are these ingredients? And they effing nailed it. The dinner was so sublime, it almost overshadowed my flower ornaments. I mean, the grooms. Friends 2, evil mother 0. Bam. Finally, the party happened and it was completely over the top. They kept thanking everybody and there was so much love in that evening that we all kind of forgot the wedding was supposed to be anything different from what it was. Friends 1,000, mother 0. Yeah.
Boom.
Even with our money gifts and their original wedding budget, they still had to relocate their honeymoon budget to make ends meet just because of the evil mother. It was fine. They would just postpone the honeymoon. But then their boss announced that the groom's department chipped in to gift them their honeymoon as originally planned.
Whoa.
Wow.
I don't think those CEOs are paying their employees enough if they can afford to give a full-on honeymoon.
Now, I'll go get some rest because at my age, you can't party that hard and not suffer the consequences.
That's a good rap. That's a good rap.
That is a beautiful story.
Beautiful story.
Friends coming together.
Love wins, y'all.
Love wins. And I think, again, like the energy of your friends coming together, that makes it so much more memorable.
Yeah, agreed.
So much more.
Agreed. I think like the wedding honestly turned out better because the mother-in-law tried to fuck it over. So really, you should be thanking her.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thanks, evil mom.
Maybe that was all part of her plan. Oh, shit. But I don't know. Let us know what you think. Do you think the mother-in-law was an asshole?
And tell us your worst mother-in-law or father-in-law stories, your worst in-law stories in the comments below.
How did your wedding go wrong, or did anything go wrong in your wedding? What happened?
Wedding disaster stories. We need
or
those.
a friend's wedding. Like, let us know.
Any weddings.
Yeah.
Tell us.
I kicked my dad out of my mom's funeral. I had security remove him and my cousin. Am I the asshole?
Daddy's gotta go.
Don't just remove him from the funeral, remove him from life. My parents divorced 10 years ago. My father initiated it. He was seeing someone else and wanted to see if the grass was greener on the other side.
Of course.
I neither am for or against his reasoning, but I am against how he treated my mother, and they finalized their separation. One key event that stands out is in deliberating how assets, or rather debt, was divided. My father promised my mother that he'd still be around, still be in her life, even be friends, and see if they could rekindle their marriage, but only if my mother took every penny of debt. My mother was naive to agree with it, because once the divorce was finalized, my father was on a plane in a matter of days off to live his new life. It should be obvious that none of us were happy with my father, and I've been no contact the entire time.
Right.
My mother passed away 3 weeks ago. She is survived by my 2 siblings and I. I was in charge of the funeral. I knew some of my cousins on my mother's side blamed my mother for their divorce and actively stayed in touch with my father, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Imagine that. My mother's family took my father's side in all of this. I also knew there would be a non-zero chance my father would show up, and if he did, it would not be to pay his respects, probably to get some money or something. So I hired security for the funeral and church service. Long story short, my father and his new wife showed up.
Oh,
fucking gall to bring your new wife to your dead mom's funeral. They were barred from entry. One of my aunts got very upset and caused a scene and let slip her daughter. My cousin invited him. So I had security escort my cousin out of the funeral too.
Get out of here.
This event has caused a rift between my families, or at least embiggened the one already there. A few of my aunts and a lot of my cousins think I went overboard. Some even removing me from Facebook.
Not removing from Facebook.
Oh my God, Facebook. Was I an asshole in this situation? For what it's worth, I was not super close to those who were ejected from the funeral, nor the ones who caused a fuss. I can live a happy life having zero contact with him again, so I lost nothing. I'm still no contact with my father, who flew out for the funeral.
I'm very curious to hear what everyone thinks. I mean, seems pretty cut and dry to me. I think the dad is definitely the a-hole. Like, remember how OP in the beginning said, like, oh, I'm not judging his reasoning of like, oh, I want to, go out and I guess experience someone else. That maybe could have been okay, but I think the fact that he dumped all the debt on her
that's
intentionally
that's pretty
ruined everything.
Yeah.
And like basically it seemed kind of left out of their lives and all of this BS. But Sam, you know what I want to attend?
What do you want to attend?
Your next story.
Let's go. Oh, is this me? No, I just read this.
Just kidding. My next story. My grandma wants to come to my graduation. I don't want her there. I hate her. Am I the a-hole?
Hey, grandma, how does this pillow smell?
Jesus, Sam.
Die, grandma.
This was submitted by a fan of the show on r/OKOP show. If you want to have your stories read, we're reading a lot of them. Go to Reddit, r/OKOP show.
Yeah.
This comes from apathetic Axolot.
Nice.
Shout out to you. I, 24 female, have a rocky relationship with my paternal grandma. I'm also estranged from my bio father, her son. It all started when I was born, when she was certain I was not my father's kid because I had dark brown hair.
Ooh.
No, I'm not joking. She called my maternal grandfather and told him off, saying a lot of things about me and my mom. To be honest, I never really liked my paternal grandma. She's a master at giving backhanded compliments. You would be so cute if you weren't ugly, y'all.
Shut up, grandma.
There isn't a thing that she says that isn't backhanded.
No one loves this bit.
I think she gets joy from hurting people. During my high school graduation, she loudly announced in front of everyone that I was horrible because I never visited my estranged dad and his new family. Mind you, he moved an hour and a half away one day and never made any effort to interact with me after that. My stepsister, 10 at the time, who I had met 2 or 3 times max, clung to her and said, "You never came to see us. Why do you never see us?"
That sounds like something like a ghost child would say.
Why do you never see us? Look at me. Look at me.
Look at me. Have you seen The Exorcist?
No. It just felt odd and staged. I'm not sure how to explain it, but it felt like she was put there to cause a scene. Call it intuition. It was embarrassing, and I never invited them to another graduation after that. Fast forward to now, I was accepted in a medical school.
Congrats, OP. Damn.
Congrats.
We have doctors in the audience?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, doctor, my penis don't work so good.
My name is Producer Wee, and I have some bumps on my wee. I heard 86% of you are women.
Is that true?
Yes.
86% of doctors are women?
86% of our doctors are women. Okay, OP audience. That's 86%. Sexist Sam, ladies and gentlemen.
What? No.
Medical schools often host a white coat ceremony for first years to get their white coats. It symbolizes the milestone of getting to that point. It took me years and a few application cycles to get in, so this ceremony really means a lot to me. When I got in, I called my Aunt Jackie. I was excitedly calling almost everyone and not putting much thought into it. Jackie told me to call Grandma, but I refused and opted for a text. Grandma's reply, "I thought you already were, not how many years are left." I replied and got no response. A few days later, she texted me, "Why did you not let me know what was going on? Guess Grandma does count." Yes, she does refer to herself in the third person.
Fucking crazy.
Gotta love it. Jackie later asked if she could stay in my guest room and if there was room for two. I said yes, thinking her husband was coming. She immediately went, "Great, I'm going to bring Grandma."
Why?
This is a terrible family.
Oh
This
my
family
God.
sucks.
I'm sorry, OP.
For real. I felt the color run out of my face. I told her that the bedroom was downstairs and Grandma couldn't go up because of her bad knees. That's a smart excuse.
Ooh, smart.
Jackie conceded to stay at a hotel, but insisted that Grandma comes to the ceremony.
Ugh.
Yikes. I'm paranoid that she's going to cause a scene again. High school is one thing, but this is in front of a professional setting.
Yeah.
Among peers that I'll be with for 4 more years. I don't want her to come at all, unlike Sam. And I never explicitly invited her. My aunt did bring her without permission. I just want to avoid it altogether as I'm already running through every possible scene that she could cause there. I'm 99% sure that if I told her not to come, she would come anyways, or my aunt would sneak her in. Am I an a-hole for not wanting her to be there? Would I be an even bigger a-hole for uninviting her?
I don't think so. I mean, she's shown that she doesn't care at every step of the way. So why invite people to your special moments if they're going to ruin those moments? If I'm going to, come on someone's face for the first time, I'm not going to invite my high school bully.
Exactly.
Unless I was coming on their face. Then I would invite them.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then it's just sad. Samuel Donner, late night episode.
I'm so sorry, mother.
OKOB. The cursed episode.
The cursed episode. Let us know if you want more of these.
Yeah.
Put what I said before. Editors, can you cut back to what I asked people to? If you want more after hours episodes, comment, please come into my bed at night. Sorry, no, come in my bed. Comment that if you want more of these.
Yeah. Let us know.
Let us know.
My husband thinks I cheated on him in prison and is demanding a paternity test for our baby. Am I the asshole for leaving him?
I, 37 female, just had a beautiful daughter with my partner, 36 male, last Tuesday. She is perfect and we absolutely adore her.
Congrats, OP.
My partner is so happy and was very supportive during pregnancy and labor. Everything was perfect. Or so I thought.
Of course.
There's always a thought.
Saucy thinking.
We have only been together for 18 months and things moved quickly for us. We started living together after only 3 months and have been inseparable since, even working in the same factory together until I went on maternity leave. My partner and I are both recovering addicts. We're addicted to each other's love.
Aww.
Just kidding. It's probably meth. I have 3 years and he has 2.5 years sober. We have completely turned our lives around and have the life I never thought possible. There has never been cheating on either side, but yes, there can be some jealousy issues. Now that you have some history, here is the problem.
Here we go.
We came home from the hospital Friday and I was exhausted, so he took the baby while I slept. When I wake up, he says, "You know I love you, right?" I immediately get worried.
Oh.
And then he says, "I want a DNA test." Because he counted the days, and when I got pregnant, he was in jail. He is still on probation and was driving without a license. This is not true. I got pregnant 2 months after he got home, and the cherry on the top is we were actively trying to have a baby. Wait, someone's math ain't mathin'. I'm absolutely devastated and automatically felt different about him. I was tired and emotional, so I just cried. He is saying he doesn't trust me and I am angry now. We went yesterday to take the test and he paid $200. I'm not working and that's money we need. Our baby has jet black hair and he has blonde hair and blue eyes. Mine is dirty blonde. He says he just wants to be sure and has had issues because of past relationships. I feel lost and unsure if I will ever feel the same about him. I don't have anyone to talk to about this because I'm embarrassed. So I came here. Thank you for any advice. Sorry for the long post. And there is an edit.
What do we always say, Sam?
There have to be red flags before.
Red flags, but then also just like how DNA works.
Just because your baby does not look exactly like you does not mean it's not your baby.
Half of my family, jet black hair. The other half, blonde like this.
So you're adopted?
Daddy? Is Riley my father? He's only 4 or 5 years younger than me.
Whoa.
Whoa, that's a hot story.
That's a hot story.
But genetics.
Anyway, there's an edit and an update. You ready?
I'm ready.
So the results are in. You are the father. Couldn't resist. Obviously, I'm not surprised and it felt really good to be right. We found out right before he was going to work and planned to talk it about this weekend. After he left, he called and said, "Please marry me." This is something we have wanted to do, but didn't have the money for. I do want to marry him and spend the rest of our lives together. Posting on here really let me look at the situation from many angles. Most people said therapy or leave him, but there were a lot of great and helpful comments in here too. Thank you, everyone. I am so grateful for the advice. I have decided to move past this because he never treated me or my daughter any differently. He has provided everything we need. This is the first real issue we have had. I do believe the DNA test should be standard. True. Then no one would get their feelings hurt. He says he trusts me, and other than this, and his actions have shown that. I could see it was very hard for him to ask when he could have done it without me knowing. Relationships take work and understanding. We still have a lot to work on, and I lost trust in him over this. Now, if this sort of behavior continues, then that's a whole other story. So, thanks again. If anyone has questions, I will answer. My question is, how did he think it was conceived 11 months before it was born?
The husband?
The husband. That's my question.
That's what he was saying.
How could he think the baby was conceived 11 months before it was born?
It's pure science, bro.
One sec. Let me see.
Pure science.
Dude, the Guinness World Record for longest human pregnancy was 12 and a half months. I'm so wrong. So yeah, it could have been conceived, 11 months ago.
I guess, yeah, because it's just developing more.
Yeah, dude.
The
baby's
baby's
just so fucking developed.
It's just cooking in there.
Yeah,
just
bro. Got a full-on dong coming out.
What?
All right. How long were you in the womb? Let us know below. And with that, we will get into the next story.
Let's do it. Am I the a-hole for stealing my son's car from him because he cheated on his girlfriend? My son, Hank, male 17, dated a girl, May, for 2 years. Throughout those years, he was a great boyfriend to her, at least from what my wife and I saw. May also grew very close with us and came a lot, yeah, she did, to a lot of family dinners and vacations. May has a lot going on for her. She's a straight A student and she is a 3-sport varsity athlete.
Damn, she fit.
Wow.
How old is this person?
Probably 17.
I mean, she is good at sports.
Oh, wait, she's 18.
Oh, damn, she fit as fuck.
Just kidding. Got you. So naturally, we hoped that Hank would continue to date May. A couple of weeks ago, Hank came home crying and told us that May had broken up with him. We were sympathetic, and I took him on a long fishing trip the next day, and my wife made him his favorite meal for dinner. However, the next day, my wife conveniently ran into May at the mall. Since she was so close with my wife, May told her the truth that Hank had cheated on her.
But was she cute, though? Was she cute? The other woman?
I don't know.
Still fucked. If you're going to sacrifice something, at least do it well.
Samuel Donner.
If you're going to cheat on your wife, make sure it's with a 10.
Samuel Donner.
I don't believe that, by the way.
Samuel Donner. My wife came home in tears, but I was so furious that there was steam coming from my ears. I looked through Hank's bank account transactions. Oh, man.
What?
Which I never do because Hank is an unusually responsible 17-year-old, and up until now, I've trusted him.
That seems too much.
Sure enough, there were several charges from an upscale seafood restaurant a few towns over. May is vegetarian and allergic to shellfish, and also bought a pair of sterling silver earrings. My wife reminded me that May's ears are sensitive to sterling silver.
How do they know all this shit?
That's when the perfect punishment came to mind. I had bought Hank a car for his 17th birthday birthday, since he had proved to be a good driver in the old beater that he had previously. Since he was using that shiny car to drive 20 miles to meet his mistress, I would revoke access to it.
It's not his mistress. Let's fucking cool your jets, dude.
Mistress! I waited until Hank got home that evening before throwing his keys into the lake behind our house.
Sell the car. What do you mean?
He, of course, begged me not to, but I explained to him as the legal owner of the vehicle, I get to do with it as I see fit.
Sell it.
And I don't see cheating on your girlfriend as fit. He threw a tantrum and ran up to his room. I was feeling quite pleased with myself until my wife got home and asked why Hank was so upset. When I told her why, she said my form of punishment was inappropriate. She said it would take away his independence.
It's very overkill.
We live in a suburban area, so there's not much to do within walking distance. Plus, he would have to take the bus to school, and he would be the only upperclassman to do so. She said it would be a good punishment if we caught him cheating multiple times, but not a first-time punishment. This parents are weird. We're almost done, and we'll dissect this. But
Yeah. Let's finish it out.
Since Hank has been a good kid overall, it is true that Hank has been a good kid. He gets good grades, keeps his nose clean, doesn't do drugs, etc. But cheating is a pretty heavy violation in my book. Honestly, I'm having a hard time seeing my wife's perspective. If Hank had been 18 or older, I would have kicked him out of the house.
Really?
Am I being fair, or is my wife right?
I think this is way overkill. I want to know what y'all think.
Yeah.
But I think this is way overkill.
The first step was the invasion of privacy
Yeah,
with
the bank is crazy.
I think that's definitely too much, especially if Hank like has a job and is like earning his own money and things of that nature. It's just too private. And two, like you're so over the top.
So over the top and so involved. This
Yeah.
is like, it's weird how much you know almost.
I don't blame him for wanting to teach his son like, oh, this is wrong. But yeah, the level of snoopery.
I think teaching your
snoopery is bad.
son that it's wrong is important, but this way of going about it feels like the complete wrong way.
Why didn't he just sit him down first?
Yeah.
And at least give him a chance to like come
Talk
clean
about it,
and
yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
it. You know?
I'm curious what all of y'all
Yeah.
would do. Put your answers below. Yeah, but just a little weird dynamic.
A little strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get to this next one.
Let's do it.
I sent a video of me making out with 2 other people to my cheating boyfriend.
Am I the asshole?
Talk about a clap back.
That is the ultimate clapback.
Dude, clap back.
Also, and this is an OKOP fan submission on r/OKOP show on Reddit. It's submitted by user Petty Froggo.
Shout out to you.
But where's that video though? Where's the link? So it's been about a year since the incident happened. And I only recently, or never mind, don't send it. Please do not send anything to me. And I only recently thought about it when talking to a friend. This happened when I was 16 and 17, junior year of high school. And my ex, we will call him Scott, was 17, 18, his senior year of high school. We had gone to middle school together, but have never talked to each other. We had to attend summer school, the summer between sophomore and junior year, or for him, between junior and senior year. He approached me with an old friend, we'll call him Jason, who also went to the same middle school and I had several interactions with. We'd also gone to a school dance in the same friend group. Anyway, he approached me with an old friend to ask for my number. After that, it was kind of all 3 of us since we didn't know anyone else. After a few months of talking with Scott, he asked me out.
Aww.
Prior to this, Scott knew that I'm pansexual, and after us being together for a couple of weeks, I told him about being poly. Damn, these 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds are like pansexuals and being poly?
Way too advanced.
I wasn't expecting anything from it. I just wanted to let him know. He said he needed time to think, and at some point said he couldn't be with someone who was, and I quote, gay and wanted other people, so he broke up, which is like a high school thing to respond to.
Yeah.
So gay.
I didn't know you were gay.
Which I didn't have an issue with. So 2 weeks later, I was going through a rough patch due to a family member passing away. He said he loved me and wanted to work things out. I was vulnerable and wasn't thinking straight. Well, obviously, because you're pansexual. When I said okay. We got back together and things were all right for a while. Once I turned 17 in February, everything went downhill. For my birthday, my parents bought weekend passes for an anime convention. I told Scott about it and asked if he wanted to go. We had an extra ticket. He said he had to work and wouldn't be able to make it. I said it was fine and then asked Jason, who also wasn't able to go. Scott then told me that his cousin was going and I should meet up with him. He said he had money and would be able to spoil me and be able to pay for me to have a boob job. What? I was horrified. terrified. He'd always say to me that I was perfect. I had always had body image issues, which he knew about. So hearing this made me feel insecure.
Who is this guy and what are high schoolers doing today?
I shut the idea down and ignored his comment. Later that night, I messaged him saying I was sorry for not answering his messages since I was enjoying the convention. My mom told me to tell him something. I forgot what it was. He had also met my parents and they liked him a lot. He snapped at me and told me to tell my mom she should mind her own business and shut up. I have a crappy relationship with my mom, but he didn't have the right to disrespect her. So I said goodnight and ignored all of his messages until the next morning. Things only got worse.
Of course they did.
He started to make things sexual. He would even make sexual comments, and he even suggested a threesome with Jason, his friend. At some point, he changed it and said he wanted me and Jason to go at it, and he would watch. He would ask me to sneak him in at night. I was afraid of my parents finding out, so I would tell him no. One night, he got mad and ignored all my messages. The next morning, he sent me videos of him with 2 girls drinking, smoking, and he slept with both of them.
Who are these high schoolers? I couldn't get one at a time.
I was broken. I'm sorry, OP. This sucks. I wanted to end things with him, but he just kept saying we weren't breaking up until he said it was done, which sounds abusive.
Yeah.
Prior to this, he had told me that he was moving to a city an hour away and we would break up once he left. This is where my revenge begins. Damn. Okay. I recorded a video of me and 2 other friends making out, a guy and a girl. One of them kept the video for me and would send it when I asked for it. About 2 weeks go by, and when I was in school and on his last day in school, he told me he had cheated on me with his ex. She had cheated on him with a girl, and he walked in on them doing the nasty. Now, this is when the little video comes in handy. I asked my friend to send it to me. I sent him the video and blocked him. Jason cuts ties with Scott and he found out what happened. Jason and I are currently both 18. We kept in contact and are now together. We've been together for about 5 months now and are very happy. Wait, so you're just dating Jason now?
Damn.
God. He treats me way better and also makes sure I'm okay and comfortable. He also always reassures me that I'm beautiful just the way I am and don't need to change anything about my body unless I really want to. Scott got back together with his ex who constantly cheats on him with girls. And yes, Scott lied about having to move. I would have to pass his bus stop to get to my bus stop. We went to different schools and he would always be there. He currently stalks my Instagram, but I could care less what he does in his spare time because it's nice to know that he knows I'm being treated with respect, care, and the love I deserve.
God.
Messy.
That is just messy. Can't even begin. Like
messy.
This is Euphoria.
This is Euphoria.
Is that what high schools are like today? Like
Bro,
our high schools
I went to the
Euphoria?
wrong high school.
Bro,
I also went to an all-boys high school, so a little different.
I was afraid to kiss a girl at 15. Like trying to kiss my
Yeah.
girlfriend, terrified.
Dude.
At 15. Gen Z, bro.
Gen
Like
Z.
deep Gen Z. We're technically Gen Z.
You're not. I am.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Google it, Riley.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Anyone born between 81 to 96 is a millennial. Anyone from 97 and onwards, Gen Z.
Get fucked. Get fucked, John.
Riley, you're fired.
Look at this.
I'm gonna close this episode out, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
getting tired?
No, dude.
You need a midday nap?
I'm gonna put an end to this before it gets any worse.
I don't think you'll have to. I think the end is coming very near.
But hold on. I want to hear your crazy, ideally Gen Z high school stories
yeah.
down below because I'm sure we got
He's
some
trying to keep up to date with
crazy.
what the kids are doing
I'm
these
trying
days.
to, I'm learning the floss and all that shit. See you on the next episode.
See you soon, y'all.